Welcome, everybody, back to the Brad Angelo, EJ Tackett grudge matches. Uh, Bowling for a Cause. The charities that we have chosen, I'm raising money for our local hospital here in Lockport, New York, the Eastern Niagara Hospital. And then EJ is raising money for the Bluffton Regional Medical Center. So, welcome, all of you. And thank you for those of you that watched and shared last week. I got a lot of great comments and feedback. So this week you'll see that we have cameras down by the pins. We also have the ability to have the score sheet up the whole time. And I need to welcome Rick Benoit. Rick Benoit, thank you again for joining us. Rick Benoit is the founder of Bowl U. EJ Tackett is there in Bluffton, Indiana. Big thank you goes out to all of our sponsors. Logo Infusion, who has agreed if any of you want to order a Logo Infusion jersey, please go on and logoinfusion.com, make an account, go into your account, order a jersey. You'll get 15% off if you use the coupon code Angelo. And then, based on all those sales, Logo Infusion is going to donate back 15% of all the sales that they generate from this this series that EJ and I are doing, right back to both of our causes that we're raising money for. So thank you, Logo. Thank you, Storm. Thank you, Vice. Obviously, thank you, Bowl U, for this format. Rick, if you could just briefly describe what the Put Up or Shut Up format is and what it's all about.
Sure, Brad. I'd be happy to do that. EJ, welcome, buddy. I don't think you've ever experienced the Put Up or Shut Up format before, but I know you're one of the best in the 9th and 10th frame, so you're going to adapt very well. I don't think there's going to be any problem at all. But here's the deal. All great matches boil down to the 9th and 10th frame. And all the best players know they're going to have to perform in the 9th and 10th. They're using 8 frames to get ready for those 2 frames that are obviously the ones that are going to decide the outcome. We're just going to eliminate those 8 frames, and we're going to guarantee it's close going into the 9th and 10th. So here we are. It's dead tied going in the 9th and 10th. And I'm not sure you decided to do best of 7 double elimination, Brad. Is that what you decided to do?
Well, the Put Up or Shut Up format, and then what EJ and I decided to do, if you want me to jump in and go over that now.
Sure,
you want to do that? Okay, EJ and I, through our discussions, we've decided that we're going to bowl best out of 3 sets. And 1 set is on a piece of paper. What determines who wins a set is whoever wins 4 9th and 10th frame matches first. So it's a best of 7 set, and the match is best 2 out of 3 sets. Correct. It doesn't sound, or it sounds a little more complicated than it really is. You'll understand as we go forward here. So whoever wins 4 9th and 10th first wins this set, and then we'll trade that out for another set, and we're bowling best of 3 sets. We're going to try to keep it a little bit more quick this week than we did last week. So EJ or Rick, do you want to finish off, or EJ,
I
do you want
do.
to chime
I
in?
do. The purpose of this, almost all these formats came from a development standpoint. And, you know, when I'm training players to be prepared for the competition, I want them to have the right mental frame of mind entering the 9th and 10th frame. I want them to enjoy it. You know, you can really see the difference in the way athletes act when they get into the 9th and 10th frame. Some people want to be there, and some people are scared. So we want to make it fun. We want people to look forward to the 9th and 10th frame, and you two are 2 of the best. I know you both love those moments. EJ, how do you like the 9th and 10th frame?
I think it's awesome having a chance as a professional in our sport, coming down to win a tournament, win a major championship, and you're up in the 9th and 10th to finish out before your opponent. And to have the opportunity to know that if I throw 1, 2, 3, 4 strikes, whatever it may be in the situation, to win a title, I mean, that's what you live for in our industry, in our profession. It's what you dream about as a young kid. I remember growing up, practicing, getting into the 9th and 10th frame saying, hey, I need to strike out to beat Norm Duke for the U.S. Open and stuff like that. So I put myself in those situations when I was very young, and it's turned out pretty well for me so far.
Yes, it has. So who did you guys decide? What are you going to do? You're going to flip a coin again? Is that the plan?
I think so.
Yeah, we're going to flip a coin. I got the same quarter as last week. Heads on the front, tails on the back. EJ, I'll let you call it again this week, and I'll try to have it finish out here on the approach. So, EJ, call it in the air.
Tails never fails.
Tails never fails. Well, it is heads. It is heads this week. So we got heads this week. If you could see that in the light, there we go. Trying to get. I don't know where the camera is here. I guess it's like.
We trust you, Brad. We trust you.
I got it. All right. So we got heads. We got heads. So you know what? I'm going to start this week.
Okay.
So we'll do the same sort of thing. Tim's going to be trying to work on getting EJ in my earpiece. So EJ, I can't hear you as of this second. So Rick, just know that we're working on that and getting him on right now. Okay.
Gotcha. I got one question,
Rick,
Brad.
Hold on. You can hear EJ just fine?
Yes, I have no problem hearing EJ.
Okay. Okay, so I don't know what happened. And if I need to put the other one in, I'll put the other one in. I don't know. Okay, go ahead, Rick. What's the question? Then we'll get to bowling for all of you that are here.
Okay, you flip the coin. You're starting, or whatever you choose to do. Are you altering that for the next 9th and 10th frame or the next set? How are you doing that?
No, what we'll do is once this 9th and 10th frame is complete, then EJ starts the next 9th and 10th, and we'll just keep alternating as it falls. Whoever wins the set, whoever started that 10th frame to finish off the set, then the other guy starts that 10th frame. It'll be similar to tennis. You just keep alternating serve back and forth. Even no matter who wins the set, whoever's due up to start the 10th, you'll start that next set. Okay?
Got it. Good luck, guys.
So here we go. So we decided to use the 42-foot Scorpion. There was a handful of you that had thought that would be a good pattern, so we both put it out as best we can. We'll get started, and then we'll try to talk as much as possible, okay? All right.
Love the technology you're using this week. Yeah. We should be able to see the pins now.
Yeah, it's crazy what a couple iPhones will do.
Yeah, I'm anxious to see how the technology holds up now. This opportunity to do this, just with more technology added, it seems like more things can go wrong. Let's hope.
Yeah, we're gonna see. I haven't thrown any shots on my lane yet to see if this phone will actually stay when the ball comes back on the tracks. But we're all in this together, and we're gonna figure it out.
Good start there, Brad. Did you get your audio working?
No, I can't seem to hear EJ. I'm not sure why. Can EJ hear me? Do you think EJ can hear me just fine?
Yeah, I can hear you, Brad. Yep, I can hear Brad.
So you can't hear EJ. Well, let's just play along here. You can see what's going on his side, can't you, Brad?
Yep, I can. Yep.
Okay. All right. So he goes 8 spare. So both everybody's got spare. There we go. Good. Got the score up. So Brad, you didn't get any practice.
It's actually the first shot I threw on this pattern today.
Neither of us took any practice on the pairs we're bowling on. I did get loose down on one of our lanes for about 5 minutes. I threw about 10 shots.
There's a little bit of lag there, but it looked like I saw the 2-8-10 up there. Is that right, EJ? Did the 10 fall out late?
You did. It did.
So the score speaks for itself. Pretty easy to follow the format. Brad, have you used this in any of your teaching?
I'll be honest with you, I have not. I know we've talked about it multiple times. You have told the stories about what it was like with the guys in Saudi and how exhausted they were mentally by the end of the format. But personally, I haven't. This is my first time using this format as well. I'm actually looking forward to it.
Yeah, I want to talk as little as possible. Let the action take care of itself.
Okay, so he
EJ's
got 38.
38. Right.
Okay, so I need 9 spare strike.
And Rick, we've actually used this on tour a little bit, like the PBA Tour Finals. It was like a best of 2 match, and there was obviously, if you're 1-1, they used a 9th and 10th frame roll off to break the tie.
Sure.
So I've actually won a title using something like this.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right. So one of your PBA titles has this involved. And you have 13, if I'm not
Correct.
mistaken.
So
right?
last year, yeah. So last year in Las Vegas at the PBA Tour Finals, it was myself and Jacob Butcher. It was a title match.
And here we go.
Oh.
Okay, so now what are we doing? Are we doing a 1-ball roll off, or
Yes,
are we doing a
you
9th and
are.
10th roll off
Yes,
for our 9th and
you
10th
are.
roll off? I'm only teasing.
Every shot counts.
Okay.
All
Not
right,
just
so
best ball.
Now it's best ball. So now, I guess I don't know who goes first, EJ or me. Rick, you choose.
well,
I'm
you
gonna
would get
say-
a pick, Brad.
There you go.
You were. We're gonna let
I don't know who's going.
pick.
Oh, could you not hear that, Brad? You said you
No,
couldn't
I don't hear
EJ.
EJ.
Okay. EJ, you
Yeah.
said that Brad would go first, correct?
Okay.
Or he can pick.
Right.
Or whatever.
Right. Since he can't hear you, we're going to tell him what to do.
Yeah, so he's bowling the lane he finished on. So does that mean I bowl in that lane or the lane I finished on?
You should be Brad. Can you hear me? Okay, I want you guys to be involved in this decision making. You went first. You bowled on the right lane. What lane is EJ to bowl on? The one he finished on or the one he started on?
He could choose on whatever to bowl, whichever lane he wants to start the match on. Start the roll off on.
And EJ, you heard that, correct? You lane of choice.
Yeah, well, if we do it correctly, I would start on the lane I finished on. So
okay,
if
Brad,
we're
he wants to do it correctly, so he's going to bowl on the lane he finished on.
Okay.
And he struck as well. Match continues. You're moving to the opposite lane?
Correct.
EJ, are you able to see this? You're able to see what Brad's doing? Okay. He did strike.
Yep. All right. Let's see if I can. Nope. Oh. Apparently,
What do you do? He struck
again?
Yes, he struck. He wasn't real confident in it, Brad, but
Uh-oh, that's high. Oh, no.
Nope.
I couldn't see his pins. How many did he
I
get?
couldn't see. Yeah, somebody switched the camera. What'd you get, Brad? I could. Or you left a pin. It looks like you got. That's 7.
Yeah, I got 7. Hit with the 3, 6, 10.
Yeah, I don't know if you have Brad's pin view up there, Tim, or not.
What? EJ got what?
9.
9.
EJ got 9.
Yeah. So it's 1-0
Okay, so just put a circle
EJ.
around. Perfect. 1-0 EJ. All right. Tim is going down and he's doing a little technical work to try to find out why. Just so all of you know, we've been on back and forth on Saturday and then for about an hour earlier before we went live today. We've tested these microphones. Everybody can hear each other. Everybody good. And then as soon as we went live, I don't know what happened. EJ went out. So, EJ, can you talk and see if I can hear you?
Yeah, see if you got me now.
I don't hear anything. Blank, complete blank. Why don't you put this in your other thing so you can test it?
I can relay.
Because
I can relay what he has to say, EJ or Brad. So what I do want to see, there you go, is Brad's pins up there. Yeah, the last shot you made there, we didn't get to see the pins at all. So let's try to make sure, if you need to take any of the video out, take me out. All we need for me is the audio if there happens to be a complication there.
I didn't intentionally take it out.
Okay. Oh, you didn't purposely take it out? EJ, your camera
EJ's
seems to
up.
be holding up well. I think that first round of competition there kind of gives us an idea of what it's about. It's a very simple format. EJ starts off with a 1-0 lead, and now EJ will be starting the second round of the first best of 7. Yes.
Yep.
Okay. Sounds like a strike. Oh, it's not though.
No, stone 9.
We do have some lag
It's
there. Did that feel good off your
back stone
hand?
9s. Yeah.
I turned EJ's lane camera on, that's why.
Okay, just to help me through this, Brad, you saw that he spared, 9 spare.
Yeah, it felt good off my hand. There's actually back-to-back stone 9s in that lane.
And a lot of fans like
I
to
think
know
that lane,
what you're
obviously,
throwing. A lot of people like to know what you're throwing. It's always an interesting thing to know what you're throwing and why you chose that ball. Maybe you can help us with that.
Yeah, I've got Jackal Ghost going. Obviously, the ball's been in the line for a long time. It's just a really predictable asymmetric bowling ball. It's
strength
just
of
kind
the
of
ball,
like the go-to
the response
asymmetric
time
ball.
of the ball, and the response time of this layout.
Hey, Brad.
Yes.
Brad, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, until they get the audio part fixed, why don't you wait for my cue? EJ was talking. He talked right over me. He was telling us about his Jackal Ghost and why he chose the Jackal Ghost. Can you continue, EJ?
Yeah. Like I said, it's just really predictable asymmetric bowling ball. This is a really simple layout for me. I have the pins just above the middle finger. Not much stick on the CG, not much on the mass. Just something that getting that pin over the middle finger just cuts the flare down just a little bit. Makes it a little bit more predictable for me. And it's one of those balls that I use. It's the kind of a go-to asymmetric ball. So the first 2 shots I threw here were with the ripcord, and they both 2-8'd. So I knew that I needed a little bit more ball. I needed to go up from that one a little bit. So I decided to go with that Jackal Ghost. And I knew it would pick up the lane a little bit better than the ripcord. So that's why I went with it. And so far, it's worked out pretty good. I got 2 strikes and 2 stone 9s with it. So.
Well, right now, Brad's got a double and looks like 9, so 29 and you still got room there.
Yep. I'm going to need all three.
Yes. I just want to point this out, Tim. Last week, I couldn't talk to Brad, so I couldn't get in his head when he was bowling. Now it's really funny. EJ can't talk to Brad, so he can't get in his head either. What's going on here? He needs all three, folks. I don't see anything left on the deck. It's clear. A little bit of lag there, but it's definitely clear. He's got the first one, needs the next two. I'm trying to kind of let the action take over here, Brad, but we'll talk about your choices as soon as EJ gets done with his 10th frame here. We
So
want to know why
EJ
you
has
chose
strike
that
in the
ball.
ninth? Oh, no, he's spared in the
No,
ninth.
spared strike.
Gotcha.
Spared strike. He needs this one. And King of Lake. King of Lake. 7 was a little late going down, but it did go down.
It did.
We don't want to get in your head here. Brad, go ahead. You think you can get in his head a little bit here? Remind him about those two solid nines. He can hear you. You can't hear him. We're thinking solid 9 here. Oh, no way. That's
he threw a
the
messenger.
reason he's got 13 titles, boys.
Are you kidding me? All right.
You're down. That's what you are. You're down.
Yeah, I know. I'm pissed.
Yeah. All right. Before you start, Brad, I gave EJ a chance to tell the fans what ball he was using and why. I think that's something that they all kind of like to know. You're getting started. You're on the fresh. You chose that ball, and you chose it for a reason. Can you help explain that to our fans?
I chose this Crux Prime ball. It's a higher friction ball. Before we started, I ended up glazing it with a 1000 pad, and I chose this layout because it is a slower response time layout. So, the strategy here this week is a lot different than last week. This week, we're bowling on 42 feet, flatter ratios, left to right. And so I want to make sure that I'm really controlling my angles this week. This ball, I'm trying to get it to read, trying to get it to roll. And in that 10th frame there, you saw my fill ball where I had left the 2-pin. I ended up switching balls to this Gravity Evolve. Now, I haven't been fortunate enough to throw this Gravity Evolve that much, but I put it on the rack only for the layout. You see the layout, this is about a 2-inch pin for me, okay? So definitely we're shifting the weight block down a little bit, and I'm going to try to throw this to see if I can get that ball to roll. But I'm down 2-0 here, so I got to make an aggressive move here, or I got to make better shots. I think I'm going to take the aggressive move and go with that.
There is no shot clock involved in this, but there is a talking clock involved in this. So we want to say what we want to say, but we want to get back to bowling as quick as possible. We're going to find Brad on that one. Hope he heard this.
I hope so too.
He did go through the face. But he did get 8 out of it.
Now I feel like I'm trying to race this up for my spare shot because you guys are freaking me out.
Well, EJ can't talk to you.
Hey, Rick.
Yes.
Hey, Rick.
Yes. Yes, EJ.
So Natalie's actually watching the stream on her iPad, and she came across a question that I thought is a good one to answer. Somebody was asking about lane surface in each bowling center. So I feel like that's something good that we can talk about. And it might be good to have Brad go over his while I'm bowling this, and then when I'm done, I can go over what we have here.
You seem to be very comfortable talking and bowling at the same time, EJ. I'm impressed.
I'm a good multitasker.
Hey, Brad. EJ
Yes.
just relayed that there was a comment on the show about lane surface and the differences in lane surfaces, and he thought that'd be something good to talk about. So why don't you tell us a little bit about the lane surface there at Brad Angelo Lane?
Well, we have the HPL, high performance lane. It was installed. We don't even know how long ago it was installed, but it's got to be probably 15 to 20 years old. So it has quite a bit of play on it, which obviously raises the friction characteristic here at our place. HPL is typically a little higher friction surface than Brunswick surfaces. I'm not sure what EJ has there at his place.
He'll tell us. He'll tell us a little bit about his. He hasn't told that yet. Okay. Are you guys still working on the audio part there, Brad? Whoa!
Yeah, unfortunately,
What
I can't
was
hear
that?
That was 3 stone 9s in a row. I was making sure I didn't stone 9
You know,
again.
when I'm looking that close like that, or was that EJ talking?
That was EJ was talking. Yeah. Can you see what's going on there, Brad? He's stone 9 again for his first shot. Then he comes back and flags the head pin.
Okay, so EJ's got 37.
He's got 37.
Okay,
Yep.
so I'm changing back to the ball that I had control of the pocket with, mainly because I want to make sure that I get count to stay ahead and count. So that's my thought here.
So Brad told us a little bit about
So-
his lanes there. How about yours there, EJ?
Right. Yeah, we have Brunswick Pro Ambles, and they've been down here for like 20 years. We just took over the bowling center in 2018. But they actually hook a lot, and Brad can attest to that. He's bowled the regional here a couple times. For Pro Ambles, they do hook a lot. So they're probably closer to those HPLs that he has, rather than what you would normally see out of Pro Ambles. Because as Brad said, Pro Ambles typically don't hook as much as the HPLs.
Here we go. It looks like, I'm sure he feels pretty confident here that he can get 8. And he does. He does do that. Takes the match to 2 games to 1 in EJ's favor. And it will be back in EJ's court, right? You will start this one, right, EJ?
All right.
Okay, well, a fill ball here for Brad. He's going to switch balls.
This is the UFO that I was using last week.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now what I saw with that was, is anybody talking?
Nobody.
Okay, what I saw with that was exactly what I was looking for. That ball read about 10 feet sooner. And I feel like with the Crux Prime that I really had to try to make it get rolling. Even though it looks good, I'm probably going to stay with it. But if it starts hydroplaning down lane, then I'll immediately go to that UFO that I just threw, and hopefully I can make better shots as well.
Okay, EJ is going to be starting this round here. It's 2-1.
You know, I'm looking into this little tiny phone, and there's
sounded
6.
flush. A little bit of lag there, but I'm sure all 10 are down on that.
Yeah, that was a pretty good one. It was a little bit better than the one I flagged head pin on. So I came across another question, Rick, and they were asking, what weight spare balls do we use?
Oh, wow.
So
okay.
I throw 16 pounds, but I have a 15-pound spare ball.
Quick break here, EJ. Quick break.
Yeah.
We have breaking news.
Yeah, see that.
Can you see that? Okay,
I do.
back with the spare ball.
So I have a 15-pound spare ball, even though I throw 16 pounds. The reason for that is the spare ball that Motive made, one of their first one, is like actual polyester, and it goes absolutely dead straight. And they don't make it anymore. So I've been using that one for quite some time. So I just kept it in the bag because it's done me well over the few years I've had it. So I'm just gonna keep on using it, even though it's a different weight.
Well, no doubt the spare ball is the most important ball in the bag. Brad, what are you throwing it on that side of the head pin for? Did you get to see that?
Throwing some Brooklyns at me?
Pulling out my Barnes moments.
Oh, get in his head here now. You can, EJ. See, I'm telling you, this is rigged. The second week in a row, you cannot talk to Brad.
It's okay. Brad gets in his head enough himself, so he doesn't need my help.
Okay, now that, for you fans out there, that's the side of the pocket you're supposed to hit for a right-hander. You know, one of the most interesting things that we alluded to last week was just the part of the pocket that the players like to use, and it's you'll notice that Brad's choice of the pocket and EJ's is different, and that affects a lot of things, including ball choices.
So 39, huh?
39 is what we have. What Brad put on the board. And EJ's got a strike here, so he's feeling pretty confident, Brad. Yeah. So notice the 10 going down, how the 10 went down. The 6 off the wall into the 10.
Yeah, I call that the Norm Duke.
Okay. That's something that a lot of professionals take for granted, that a lot of amateurs really don't pay a lot of attention to, is the type of carry that you get. Pin deflection is so important. Yeah, row, we're at 27, but it doesn't really matter.
Yep, I was making sure I didn't get 5. I didn't want to, throw it in the gutter like I almost did another one a minute ago.
I hope that you guys can watch this. I mean, Brad and EJ, as well as I can. With all this technology and all these screens on here, it really makes it easy for me to see. But Brad, can you see what's going on at EJ's?
I can barely see. I mean, I got to hand it to Tim. He's trying to work on the audio, and in the process of doing that, he's going back and clicking here. And so I was saying I got one little sixth of a screen that I can watch. So it's when I go like this, it's because I'm trying to look at that other screen there. So sorry, I get a little too close, but that's just the way I am. All right. So the bottom line is that I'm down 3-1. So now it is time to put up or shut up.
That's exactly what it's all about. And when you're in the flow of things as an athlete, there's really a feeling that you have in these moments that they either take you to the top or they sink you to the bottom. EJ, kind of share with us about how you feel in moments like this.
Well, I kind of touched on it earlier when we first got on that, these are the types of things that you really live for. We may not be bowling the first 8 frames, which could, put you in or out of the match. But coming down to the 9th and 10th frame and having an opportunity to win is what it's all about when we're out there on tour and bowling, and it happens in match play. It happens on TV shows. It's just a really cool place to be in, and it's really hard to describe to someone that's never had the opportunity to do it.
I think that's an important message to everybody out there listening. Brad, you're down 3-1. Are you scared?
I'm not scared at all, but I'll tell you what, my senses of what I'm feeling, I'm really zeroing into what I'm feeling throughout the release, the angle that my arm swing's falling at, the direction that I'm rotating the ball, all of that stuff is really starting to come out. much like it would when I'm bowling on tour. And this is just a small little fun match between EJ and I. But the competitive side is dictating what's going on. I can't believe it.
Gosh darn it.
There's the 2 and the 10. Yep, that's it, folks. The 2 and the 10.
See,
He can pick
I mean,
this up, and I'm willing to bet that he's going to try to pick it up in this situation.
the point is that you heard it right there. I mean, I got out there the first shot in the 9th, and I threw a good shot, and I struck, and I'm like, there's a little fist pump.
And he got
And then,
it.
wait a minute.
Let's all clap for that one, EJ.
All right, so
EJ,
so
stop.
the point
Just
is,
1 second. I got to talk to EJ here.
Yes,
go
sir.
ahead.
EJ, that
sir.
shot right there. I'm not talking about the results. I'm talking about the feeling of EJ on the approach when he's making that shot. We really want to emphasize what's going on. What are you thinking when you're up there? I know you want to make it, but tell me more about what EJ's thinking.
Well, I mean, in a situation like this, Brad got a strike, I got a strike, and then I miss. So I'm like, okay, I have to make this. So obviously you have to slide the 2 over into the 10. So I'm like making sure that my miss is going to be aired on the side of the left of the pin. So if I miss, I'm going to miss both of them completely, which in this situation, more than likely, I already lost because Brad's going to get up and he's just going to make sure and get 9, pick it up, and he's going to move on. So it's either I make it or I miss both pins is what I'm thinking.
Well, nice conversion. Let's get up there and fill out the 10 and put some pressure on Brad. Ten back. Notice how those pins, that was a traditional strike. Every pin did exactly what it's supposed to do. Your ball only hits 4 pins. It's a responsibility of those 4 pins to take out the other 6. Fans, are you watching that? Brad's got a strike in the 9th, and he needs to beat 40. So this first shot is very important to win. Setting himself up here for another potential tie.
And what's interesting is to see how differently Brad and I are playing the lanes. Obviously Brad's rev rate's a lot
I
lower
actually
than
got that
mine.
one in just a little bit. I thought it would hold. I missed it at the same time at the bottom. So quality of shot, it wasn't that high quality of shot, but it was pretty close. So
Yeah,
I'm just going to go try to clean this up here.
Yeah, even though we're
Get
bowling
you a
both on
roll-off.
fresh, Brad's using a much straighter line than I am. So,
All right.
and I think that for me personally has to do with how much friction we have here at the bowling center. I knew that I have to be a little bit further left. The fronts tend to want to hook quite a bit, so you have to use a little bit of angle to get it through that front part of the lane. And that and my rev rate, forces me a little bit further left without the ability to break the pair down farther to the right before we started. All right.
And you saw that, right, EJ?
I did.
Okay, we got another roll-off. We have to perform. EJ was bringing up different styles of game there. And Brad, I know you didn't get to hear him, but he was telling us a little bit about, how dramatically different you guys are playing the lanes. Something I want to talk to you guys about a little bit later is your uniqueness and what you can do that other people can't. You saw that, didn't you, Brad?
Yeah, hold on. I'm trying to stay in the match here.
Deck's clean. Deck's clean.
Ooh.
Yeah, it was a little quiet. He cleaned the deck a little quieter than you did, EJ. But they're all down.
I got to tell you, I'm
that.
feeling it, man. I'm feeling it. I don't want to give up because this is for the set.
That's right. I don't know, but maybe you need to fix the audio on Brad's side down there. The pins aren't near as loud as EJ's. Is there something wrong there, Tim? Brad's dusting the pins off the deck, and EJ's
that's called 23 more years of lower ball speed. Gosh, dang. I almost swore there, guys. It almost came out there. So I'm into this, man. I'm into this. I don't like losing.
I don't really want to interfere with that flow, but at the same time, we want people to get something special out of it. It's 4-1. Hey, that's 4-1, boy.
4-1. All right. Listen, please, Tim, could you put the link up for donating? Please continue to donate so we can raise money for our respective hospitals and the people that are busting their rear end day in and day out. So please put that link up and please continue to donate for us.
Before we get started in the next one, I want to say this, okay? I want to ask this. EJ,
yes,
you're not a big guy. You're not a big guy, but you're known for your rev rate. And there's a whole lot of people out there that want to know, how in the world is he doing it? Have you always had that rev rate? How did you learn it? Where did it come from? How'd you do it, man?
Yeah, it's always been there. I bowled when I was really young. Obviously, I've been small my whole life. So when I was really young, up until about 6 years old, I used to rest the ball here and throw it two-handed from the chest is how I used to bowl. And then my dad finally got me to bowl one-handed when I was about 6 or 7 years old. And it was one of those things where my dad just taught me fundamentals, taught me the basics of bowling. He's been my coach my entire life. But when I was young, taught me the basics and said, go figure it out. Go do it your way. And he just refined it over the years. So as far as like creating rev rate, I watched guys like Pete and Tommy and Robert Smith, those guys on TV. So I'm like, hey, I want to hook it like those guys. So I just went out and practiced. Luckily, I had a bowling center I could do so, and just figured it out and did it my own way. I figured out how to create revolutions on the bowling ball just by messing around. But as far as like maybe teaching someone how to do it, obviously having a cup wrist at the bottom and letting it, whip at the bottom of the swing. But I think one of the things that's most underutilized from amateurs is their legs. They don't use their power platform to create the base to be able to do, whip with your wrist. If you don't have that strong base, this is basically useless.
Well, I think that's a great message for everybody. It was actually a topic that I was talking about to some of my Facebook friends about, your rev dominant players. They became rev dominant because of a mindset more than a skill set. They weren't going to stop until they got what they wanted. And, you weren't so worried at a young age about how accurate you were. You weren't so worried about those fundamentals. You wanted a rev rate. And you were going to do it your way, whatever it took, until you saw the rev rate you wanted to see, and then you cleaned everything up, didn't you?
Yeah, and it was one of those things where I learned how to do it at a young age. So as I grew older, got bigger and stronger, I was able to clean everything up as I developed. And that's one of the things I kind of, when I teach, I'll teach kids, one of the most important thing you can do right now is become a good spare shooter. Because if you become a good spare shooter now, everything else will develop as you get bigger and stronger. And you'll be able to create more power and rev rate and speed as you get a little bit bigger and stronger. But if you can learn how to shoot spares now and just keep that throughout your career, I think you'll be doing just fine.
Well, you've obviously done a great job of that. Now, you don't have to be a power player to win. There are environments, and the PBA is one of them right now, where it is an advantage to be a high rev rate player. But Brad, you have your uniqueness, and it's not like EJ's. But there's two ways to win in this sport. You're either better than everybody else, or you have a uniqueness and you know how to take advantage of it. Let's listen to Brad and what he has to say to us about his uniqueness.
Well, obviously, my uniqueness has a lot more to do with the touch and feel that was learned at a very young age when we didn't have this full resource of bowling balls. So, when I grew up, the idea was keep your shoulders parallel to the follow line and just have a nice loose arm swing. And I mean, I wish EJ would try to do that this next match here, so I have a little bit more of an advantage. He comes back to my level. As far as my uniqueness, learning to be able to have those little touch and feel moves. It's not that EJ doesn't do it, because we all know that he does. It's just that I rely on that so much, and then I feel like my ace in the hole is the knowledge and the strategic understanding that I've learned from Bull U. So I think we should get back to bowling, though, because my juices are settling down, and I got to get them back up here because I'm down 1-0.
You are down.
Yeah.
It's time to perform. It's time to step up.
Yeah. Who starts this time? I don't remember.
Well, that was after 5, and Brad started originally, so we're back to. You actually should have started, shouldn't you?
I think so. Maybe.
Yeah. Maybe he'll say it's okay if you start now. Whoops! You made a mistake, Brad. EJ was supposed to start. Maybe we should go back over there.
Wait a minute. Who started that 5th match?
You're odd. You started the first one, 1st, 3rd, 5th. He started.
So I went out turn?
You most definitely did. What's the PBA rule?
PBA rule is this has to
supposed
count.
to the PBA.
So now I'm going to go for this thing. I'm going to try to throw it as hard as EJ throws it.
Not quite as hard.
All right. Well, it looks like Brad has to bowl in that lane twice then. I bowled on the wrong lane too, I think. Did I? I don't know.
Well, I know you struck and he didn't. That's what I know. I'm looking at that score sheet.
All right.
You know, when I started this this format, I wanted everybody to stay on the same lane the whole time. But look at there. Brad, if he picks this up and does it again, you still got a chance. No, you didn't get 9. You got
Couldn't
7,
get 9. I had the
right?
big 4.
You got 7. Well, you could have. You could have.
All right. 8 it is.
8 it is.
You know, sometimes in this situation, and I've seen it happen
I'm
a
so
lot.
frustrated right now. You don't even know.
Where
Like, I'm glad my camera
you gotta
isn't
get-
on because I'm so mad, shaking my head.
When you got to get 8, it's sometimes a little bit harder than having to strike.
I hope he gets it because I want to change balls.
And he did. And
Good.
he did.
Thank you, EJ. Thank you. Now I get 3 practice shots.
All right, now I'm
Good.
going to shut up and let you guys bowl and talk as much as you want. But I think everybody's got a clear picture on what this is all about. I think the action happens very quickly, and we should let that happen.
So, like I said, Rick, I've seen it happen. I've actually happened to myself sometimes where needing, like I said, needing 8, sometimes harder than getting a strike because you kind of psych yourself out a little bit maybe sometimes where you think about not messing up instead of just throwing a good shot.
No.
There's a lot of PBA history along those lines of, that shot, that crucial shot that if you were just down here bowling league, you wouldn't really think about it. But now you're on TV and it's important, whether it's
Wait a minute. Time out. I started accidentally and I lost. Do I get back in line now and I start again? I think that's probably how it should go, right? To get back on proper starting order.
So.
EJ's nodding his head yes, Brad. He agrees with you.
All right.
There's a lot of PBA history about those moments that, normally you just get up there and you throw the shot, but now it's important. What's going on in your head? A lot of the problems that developing bowlers have, it looks like it's a physical problem, but it's really not. It's really what's going on in controlling their thoughts. The mental game is the conversations you're having with yourself. And EJ was talking about that a little bit there, Brad. What about your mental game? Strength, weakness, Moments of strength, moments of weakness. Can you share a little bit of knowledge with your fans?
Well, I think my strengths have, like I say, a lot to do with where my mind is at. I'm not showing it too well right now. It's my ability to get up and strike when I need to. But yeah, I think without a doubt that's my strength. I'm angry and frustrated right now, though. I can tell you that.
Well, I want you to be
EJ
able
put out
to.
his house shot.
You had your week. It's his
EJ,
week.
EJ put out a tough shot.
I think he's making this look easier than what he bowled on last week.
That's for sure.
That's still 9 and 10 too, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah. So that right lane, if you miss right, it got a little topography issue. Doesn't want to get back.
Give me a break.
You certainly.
Not going to make it easy on him.
There's another strike.
I don't know if anybody can hear me. I'm going to take these off here. I don't know if anybody can hear me. Let me know. My earbud for some reason got disconnected.
I can hear you, Rick.
Tim, can you hear me?
Yes, Tim can hear you.
Well, Brad, 2-0.
I'm pretty bummed and frustrated. Okay, so EJ's up, right? And I'm down 2-0.
Yes, sir.
Struck.
Okay, I lost connection there for a little bit. I'm back now. Can you hear me, Tim?
Yes, sir. I can hear you, Rick.
Okay.
Oh. I saw as I said earlier, Natalie's got her iPad up, actually watching so we can see some of the comments. We got a couple of tour guys watching. You got Kevin Donovan, Patrick Dombrowski, Packy Hanrahan. What's up, guys? How you doing? Glad you could join us today.
I want to be able to see those comments. Let me flip that over here and see what's going on. Brad's struggling over here. Brad, you've lost the lane. You've got to get back in control here. What are you going to do?
Huh? Did he say something?
Yes. Could you hear me?
What'd you say, Rick?
Can you hear me?
I hear you now. I don't know. Was it going in and out or something?
Okay. I had lost my connection to audio. I'm back now. But right now, you've lost the lane. You look lost. You look confused. And EJ looks like he's wired in. He looks like he's going to run away with this match. That's not unusual. We feel moments like this, but you're not going to give up, I'm sure. Tell me what your thoughts are.
My thoughts are is that I'm not even close to feeling what I'm supposed to be feeling coming off my hand. So the ball's not going where I'm wanting it to go. I feel like I did a decent job of starting out in what I did transitionally, but my execution is really in the dumps right now, and I'm frustrated. You can probably tell. As I said, the competitive side, it comes right out. And of both of us, you heard EJ earlier when we were in that one roll off, he was like, "Oh, that type of stuff," and he left that 210, and then he made it. I'm sure EJ felt similar last week. Nobody likes to lose. Nobody. And I'm in a really frustrated state right now. So I'm trying to be transparent, but I'm frustrated, and I got to get up here now because I'm on the brink of extinction for this week.
You are on the brink of extinction, and EJ, we've all been there before. We all have felt the frustration before. Some people, it's kind of funny. In working with players throughout the years, I'll use I'm going to use Parker Bone as an example here. We call it flipping the switch. You get to that moment in competition where you're looking for a picture. Somebody help me with a picture. But when you see that picture, you flip the switch. Can you express on that a little bit?
Yeah, and it's happened several times. I can use one example, the 2015 World Championships and the cashers round. It's 6 games. I had bowled really well all week, and the first 3 games of the 6 in the cashers round, I bowled, I think, about 590, just a little bit less than 600. And I told Brett Spangler, our ball rep, I said, go get the ball called is the tag. I said, go get that tag and bring it back to me. And he kind of looked at me funny. I'm like, just go get the ball. It'll be fine. He comes back and brings me the ball. And I end up shooting like 790 for the next 3. And it was just one of those things where I felt like the front of the lane was hooking a lot. And I really needed my ball to get through it. So what I did, I just cored down, shelled down, and I just moved a little bit left and just try to roll the ball as much as possible and throw it slower. And doing that just helped me completely open up the lane. And I know that's, somebody not saying something to me, but just a thought that came in my head, let me try this. And when I saw it work for 2 or 3 shots, the floodgates opened at that point. And I was able to just, kind of free will the ball down the lane and not feel stuck. And it was helped me bowl a really, really good back half of that cashers round.
We hear the strategic things there, fans, and that is important. Don't get me wrong, but we've all been there. You can spiral out of control, or you can control it. You can gain control of it. We're good at it sometimes, and we're not good at it sometimes. But EJ just gave an example of he had a picture in his head, and something he was wanting to see, and he knew how he could create that. And he trusted his instincts, and he went for it. There's a lot of things that we do out on tour, whether you're a player or whether you're a tour rep or a coach. What you're really wanting to do is clear up the picture for the player and then let the player make those choices. You really want them to be confident in what it is they're doing. You're not telling them what to do. You're trying to get them to tell you what they're seeing and what they want to see. And when those pictures are right, their skills come out and take over. Brad, EJ just shared with the group about a time where he was struggling, just as you are right now. And I was trying to share with everybody about how it can spiral out of control, like it does for many players at different times. And then there's those times where something happens, where we flip that switch. Can you express a little bit yourself?
I mean, yeah, I can. Obviously, I was just looking at that score sheet, and 5 out of the last 6 frames I've opened. But it's not that. Part of those was still me trying to be engaged mentally and figure something out. And I'm spiraling a little bit out of control. That the crux prime that I started with, I feel like it's hydroplaning a little bit down lane, and so I went to a little stronger ball, and then that looked horrible. So now I'm just going back to the crux prime. I'm going to make a little move left, and then I'm going to slow down a little bit. What did EJ get there? 7.
He's got
So
56.
6. Okay, so he's got 56. So I need the first 7 spare to even stay alive here. So
Nope, you need a double on 7.
Yeah, you need double 7.
oh, he got a double. Okay, all right. So I need double. So I mean, obviously, I'm thinking here. This is do or die for me. So I got to get up here and I got to make a little move left because I keep going through the nose with whatever ball I'm using. So if I miss, it's probably going to be a 2-pin.
Yeah, and Rick, sometimes you see, like, I've flagged the head pin twice, and that just comes from whenever I feel like the front of the lane hooks, I tend to loft it over a little bit, and that's always my miss, is kind of the chicken wing and just miss it out to the right. So.
And it was. So obviously, I struggled pretty much the whole match with trying to get a ball to read in the proper part of the lane. I threw some good shots earlier in that first set, but things they just went haywire. And EJ did a great job keeping the pressure on, which makes you spin even more. When you're bowling under pressure, that's a whole different story than, okay, now I got 8 frames to try to find something like in traditional format. Every single one mattered. So, I mean, yeah, it's a different experience with your mind as to what's going through with your mind. I would love to do this format again next week, or at least again another time. All right, Tim's got me wired in now. That's why I haven't been on camera. I've been walking back so I can hear EJ. We'll try to continue. Everybody, I'm really sorry we got this sound issue here, but we'll try to get it worked on for next week. Were the camera angles better? I think they were, obviously. EJ, great match. It's 1-1.
Yeah, it was fun. I enjoyed that. I haven't done a whole match like that before. But honestly, I got more into it than I did last week. I don't know if it was because we were bowling on something a little bit harder where I had to focus a little bit more, maybe. I'm not sure what it was, but it was fun. It really was.
I think that, just to express the whole concept of the put up or shut up, it really speeds things up, doesn't it, guys? When
it's sped my mind up.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you're, if imagine this being for $100,000. But here's the deal. We need to be in control of those thoughts. Brad, you have a way of slowing your mind down and going through your shot cycle. Every bowler needs to train that shot cycle. EJ has his way. You have your way. What we've done here is speed that up and challenge your ability to control that shot cycle. And when every shot counts, you don't have 8 frames to regroup. You got to do it right here, right now. Forget the strategy. Dig deep into the mind and find the champion in you. Is obviously what we're trying to do with this drill, with this format. That's what it's all about. EJ, I think that we all know that's one of your strengths. I have a question for you.
Yes, sir.
I've worked closely with Wichita State for several years, and we go back quite a few years. And I'm going to use an example of 2 players, Sean Rash and Nathan Bohr. Both of them All-Americans in college. They both went out on tour at the same time. Totally different mindsets. Conversation, yes, there's the strategic things about the tour. Sean Rash has a belief in himself that seems to be natural. Not everybody has that. express to your fans what they can do to progress in that category, because we know how important it is.
I think one of the things is just repetition. I'm not a huge like practice person. I don't. I believe in over practice. You can over physically, you can overdo it mentally, but doing it here on the lanes in a practice session gives you that confidence when you actually go into competition and say, "I've done this before." You believe, "Oh, I've done this before. I can do it again." If you don't have that type of mindset when you get out in a tournament environment, you're already behind. That you get up, like I was talking earlier, when I was a little bit younger, I'd put myself in situations where I need to strike out in the 9th and 10th frame to beat Norm Duke for the U.S. Open. And I put myself in those situations over and over and over and over and over again, multiple times a day, all week long. So now that I'm out here, I can kind of go back to that little thought from when I was 12 years old. I've done this before. I can do it again. And that's probably the best way that I could tell somebody to be able to implement something into a tournament format and have belief in yourself, is just putting yourself mentally in those situations in a practice session.
Yeah, I think that's great advice. And there's so many things that we can take from these types of shows. Obviously, we can't talk to you, in the heat of battle on a PBA show, but here we can simulate it, and then we can listen and learn from you guys and your experiences. EJ, you play a lot of golf. It's the same thing mentally, right?
Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah, I think that, Brad, I think we challenged you a little bit there. I asked you earlier about the put up or shut up format, if you'd ever done it before, and you said no. And I think you just experienced the thing that most people will learn the first time they start doing this is, man, this is happening fast. I remember my first PBA tournament, and it's like, man, there's no time in between shots. You get into match play and everything is just going so fast. It's the same. It's even compounded when you get on a TV show, isn't it?
Well, I have
Absolutely.
to tell you that the main thing for me, and it's going to sound like a little excuse, but it's not. It's the reality. When everything was working fine, and then we went on the air, and I want this to be so good for everybody that's watching, and then the sound goes out, and then I was struggling. My brain was going, oh man, what are people going to think? They're going to think that we didn't do a good job again, and that affected me to the point that even I didn't have enough time to get things back to the point to where I could get them back under control. And EJ exploited that, even though we weren't bowling on the same lanes and experiencing the same transition. He exploited that, and man, he put me away. And as soon as he sensed that he had me down, man, he went in for the kill. So that's why he's a champion. But I got spinning a little bit out of control.
So this is a great opportunity to share with anybody who's happened to be watching. I don't care if they're an amateur, if they're a professional. We've all been there. I can remember so many players going back to, my first year when Chris Barnes made his first TV show. Chris, here's what you need to realize. It's not about whether you win or lose. It's what people see on the camera that's going to make a difference in your career. And, I can go back to with Missy on her first TV show, or Brad, yours, and so many experiences that the message that this is bringing out, the put up or shut up format. You can work on your physical game all you want, and you can do whatever you want. But the difference is in between the ears. EJ, you proved the great champion you are. Brad, you proved distractions can certainly affect your performance.
You still need this, I forgot. It's your mic.
Now I can't hear you talk.
Tim did something again here.
There you
I
go.
do.
That's better.
You on now?
You got it?
Now I got it.
No, it's not.
I mean, I was.
Not good enough.
You just this one.
Is it this one right here? Is this the? Does this
Yeah.
help?
Yeah.
All right. So I don't know. For some reason, this is the one that's working. I'm glad that I could help prove a point, even though it wasn't that fun while I was helping prove it. Yeah. Listen. It's never easy to be on the non-winning side, and I'm glad that the people watching are going to have a chance to truly experience what some pros go through. And if it was a situation to where me spinning out of control and allowing myself to not get back under control, and if that can help some people so they can be more aware of the conversations that are going on in through their head when they're bowling, then this was worthwhile. So I hope it helped everybody.
Congratulations.
I hope so too. And thank you. And to go along a little bit with what Brad said, some of the greatest moments that have helped me through my career are some of my worst moments on TV. They helped me learn about myself and help me grow as a professional and help me learn how to deal with all the emotions and the brain activity that happens on TV. And that relates into future TV shows, but it also relates into qualifying as well, where you can kind of be a little more calmer while you're bowling, even when things aren't going as great as you think they should be. So everything's a learning experience, whether it's good or bad. And if you can kind of look at it that way, in the moment you might be, oh man, you may be disappointed, upset, whatever it is. Take a little bit of time after whatever it is you're doing, 10, 15 minutes. Get your frustrations out, and then spend the next little bit of time reflecting on what you did and what you can learn from it. And that's what I've been able to do so far, and I continue to do so even to this day, because if you stop learning, stop evolving, is when you get left behind.
I can share from all the TV experiences and working with players back through the years. Everybody wants to hear about the strategy, and everybody wants to know about the ball and the lane and the pattern. But really what we're doing is trying to get the bowler in the right frame of mind. Mm-hmm. We overemphasize the strategic side. We probably don't emphasize enough on the mental side. And this was a great showcase, great idea, Brad, great performance, great job, EJ. I'm sure that everybody learned a lot from this experience. Brad?
I sure hope so.
I want to say I did learn a lot. And for as much as I want to do this format again, maybe we'll bring this out in a few weeks. But next week, I want to showcase the format that is the string format of Clear the Deck. So EJ and I will be going through a whole different bowl U format that's designed for a different emphasis of your development. And we can explain that on the stream. We'll talk about it next week. But I also want to promote that for those of you that tune into our Wednesday shows, we will have Norm Duke as our guest this week. So I'm excited to be able to discuss this same sort of thing with Norm Duke, who's arguably one of the best ever when it comes down to the 9th and 10th.
EJ, closing words?
I think I'm good. I said what I wanted to say about learning on TV shows and stuff like that, and I think that's all I have for today.
Okay, excellent job, EJ. Congratulations to you.
Thank you.
Brad.
Yeah.
Thank you for making this all happen.
Yeah, thank you for everybody that's making it be available to happen. EJ, thank you so much. Tim and Josh, thank you for everything you're doing behind the scenes to make it work. And obviously, EJ sponsors Motive, Genesis, Turbo, all of the sponsors that he has. I think I missed one. Bowler
Dexter.
X and Dexter. My sponsors, Storm, Vice, Logo Infusion, and obviously Bowl U. So tune in next week for the Clear the Deck string format. We'll discuss that more. And tune in Wednesday for a little insight on what what goes through Norm's mind in the 9th and 10th. All right. Thanks, everybody. Rick, thank you.
Thank you.
And we'll see you guys next week.
Later, guys.
See ya.